I used to love and light my abandonment wounds away, convincing myself that a positive mindset was all I needed to transcend pain. That was, until a powerful plant spirit revealed a deeper, unsettling truth. I was terrified of women. Not in any superficial, toxic masculinity sense. This fear ran far deeper, resonating in a primal part of my being, as though my very soul was stuck replaying the exact moment my mother left when I was a mere 3 years old. And what was perhaps the most disturbing revelation? I had been using spirituality as an elaborate shield, a sophisticated mechanism to avoid confronting that excruciating pain. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain, exposing how chasing high vibes and spiritual platitudes almost derailed my entire life. More than that, I'll share a forgiveness ritual that, finally, broke my tenacious cycle of self-sabotage, allowing me to step into a space of genuine healing. The turning point, confronting the buried memory. The shift began during my Kazuma dieta, fasting with a plant medicine, an intense period of spiritual and physical purification. In that profound state of altered consciousness, the plant spirit meticulously guided me back to a memory I had meticulously buried, convinced it no longer held sway over me. I saw myself as a child, small and vulnerable, standing at a window, my face pressed against the glass, an ache in my chest as I waited for my mother to come back. The painful truth echoed through my being: she never did. For decades, I had meticulously constructed a narrative around this event. It's okay, I'd tell myself, a mantra repeated countless times. I've forgiven her. I'm evolved. I had convinced myself that by intellectualizing forgiveness, by wrapping it in spiritual language, I had somehow transcended the raw, primal pain of that abandonment. But Kazuma, the ancient plant teacher, had no patience for my spiritual bypassing. It wasn't interested in my carefully curated narrative of evolution. Instead, it ruthlessly, yet compassionately, forced me to feel that little boy's overwhelming rage. The searing heat of his betrayal. It was an involuntary plunge into the depths of a pain I had so successfully compartmentalized. And then, the plant showed me something even more devastating, a series of painful echoes of that original wound. It revealed every instance where I had subtly, or overtly, sabotaged a relationship, the underlying fear whispering, "She'll leave anyway." It showed me every time I had deliberately pushed a woman away before she could possibly hurt me, before she could recreate that original trauma. And ironically, pushing away the thing I wanted to most, which is to be intimate with a woman. The stark, undeniable truth hit me with the force of a physical blow: I wasn't healed. I was haunted. As I processed this profound realization, a tremor ran through me. My voice, usually steady, cracked slightly as I admitted to myself, and now to you, that I had been using divine masculine rhetoric, a language of empowerment and strength, to cleverly conceal a much more painful truth. I had painstakingly convinced myself that I was protecting my energy, when, in brutal honesty, I was simply running. Running from the pain, running from vulnerability, running from the very real possibility of being hurt again. This was not protection, it was a sophisticated form of evasion. The lie we believe, deconstructing abandonment wounds. Here's the insidious lie I swallowed whole, a lie that perhaps many of you have also inadvertently adopted: if I just vibrate high enough, if I just maintain a positive outlook, the pain will magically disappear. This is the cornerstone of spiritual bypassing, the belief that simply ignoring or transcending negative emotions will make them vanish. But abandonment wounds, deep-seated traumas like the one I carried, do not operate in this way. They are not dissipated by positive affirmations alone. Instead, they warp you. They twist your perceptions, subtly influencing your actions and decisions in ways you may not even consciously recognize. Let me break down 3 common ways these abandonment wounds manifest, ways they cunningly trick us into perpetuating our own cycles of pain. 1. Preemptive strikes. My most common pattern was to terminate relationships before they had the chance to develop into something truly serious, something truly vulnerable. The rationale, deeply ingrained yet largely unconscious, was simple: if I was the one who left first, then I could never be left again. This felt like a powerful form of control, a way to reclaim agency in a narrative where I had once felt utterly powerless. Does this resonate with your own experiences? Do you find yourself creating distance, manufacturing reasons to end connections, just as they begin to deepen? This isn't discernment, despite how the ego might try to frame it. This is trauma manifesting, a desperate attempt to avoid repeating a past wound. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, ensuring the very abandonment it seeks to avoid. 2. Spiritual superiority. Another insidious trick my wounded ego played was cloaking fear in the guise of spiritual standards. I would tell myself, often with a subtle air of self-righteousness, "She's not awake enough for me." This was a convenient way to justify my emotional distance, a spiritual alibi for my reluctance to engage deeply. In reality, the profound fear was that if I allowed someone to get too close, if I truly revealed myself, they would inevitably see my deep-seated insecurity, my lingering wounds, and then, inevitably, they would leave. The ego, in its most cunning form, loves to dress fear in the most appealing, spiritually elevated clothing, transforming genuine vulnerability into a perceived flaw in the other person. This is not about true spiritual discernment, it is about using standards as a barrier. 3. The pain loop. Every single time I pushed someone away, every time I ended a relationship prematurely, it served to confirm my deepest, most agonizing core wound. See? Women always leave. This created a vicious, self-perpetuating cycle. The pattern I created, born from the original abandonment, continuously reinforced the very belief that caused me so much pain. It was a loop of self-sabotage, a tragic echo of that 3-year-old boy's unresolved pain. But the plants, in their infinite wisdom, patiently showed me the stark truth: I was the one leaving. Over and over again. I was the architect of my own abandonment, unconsciously recreating the very scenario I feared most. This realization, while painful, was also incredibly liberating, as it shifted the locus of control back to me. After confronting these difficult truths, I took a deep, grounding breath, allowing myself to truly feel the weight of what had been revealed, but also the nascent stirrings of possibility. What the plants taught me: embracing authentic healing. After meticulously performing this ritual, something truly profound shifted within me. My Kundalini energy, which had felt stagnant and blocked by years of suppressed rage, finally activated. It was as if a dam had broken, allowing a vital life force to flow freely through my being. The plants, in their ethereal communication, whispered ancient wisdom into my consciousness. You've been a shaman in lives where you failed the feminine. Now, you're afraid to touch it. Heal this, or you'll repeat the cycle. This was a direct, unmistakable message, connecting my current abandonment wounds to a much deeper, karmic pattern. So, armed with this revelation, I made a radical choice. I stopped affirming. I stopped pretending. I ceased the spiritual bypassing that had characterized so much of my life. Instead, I simply let myself rage and cry. I allowed the full, unadulterated spectrum of my emotions to surface, without judgment, without attempts to transcend them. I allowed myself to feel the primal scream of that 5-year-old boy, the betrayal, the heartbreak. And through that raw, authentic emotional release, I finally learned to trust. Trust the process, trust my own capacity to heal, and ultimately, trust life itself. This was the true meaning of healing, not avoiding the pain, but walking through it, allowing it to transform you. Your invitation, a call to realness. So, this is my invitation, my heartfelt challenge, to you. If any part of my story resonates, if you carry the burden of an unhealed abandonment wound, try this ritual. Engage with it honestly, without the masks of spiritual jargon or pretense. Then, I encourage you to comment below with one truth you release through this process. No spiritual catchphrases. No performative high vibes. Just realness. Your authentic experience, shared from a place of vulnerability and courage. Let's create a space for genuine healing and shared understanding. Finally, the forgiveness ritual, a path to release. This powerful forgiveness ritual offers a path to release old wounds, especially those stemming from abandonment or betrayal. It begins with writing down your pain in a specific format, like, name, what you did hurt me because of this, I've carried. Be completely honest, no censorship. Next, speak these words aloud while holding the paper to your heart, allowing yourself to feel all the emotions without holding back. This vocalization is crucial for releasing stored pain. Then, choose to either burn the letter, safely, or bury it in the earth, saying, I release you. I forgive you not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace. This act symbolizes transformation. In the end, wash your hands in water, declaring, I am no longer tied to this pain. I choose a new story. This symbolic cleansing helps you move forward, lighter and renewed. Thanks for watching. Like, comment and subscribe.